Hello, Gemini. This is a reading for all Gemini placements, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, and Mars. Although I do feel like my readings are timeless, so if you happen upon this whenever, it's for you whenever. This is going to be a reading for April 1st through April 15th. New moon on April 1st, which is an idea for new intentions. It's really a time astrologically right now, being in Aries season right now. It's a time to get moving on the things that you want. I also have the word ego popping in, and Geminis, you always say what you say, and you mean what you say. And I love that about you. I'm a Gemini rising, and I feel like, with that being said, pause before you speak, because sometimes you're saying out of ego and not out of heart. And I feel like right now, as a collective, we really need to speak from the heart and less from ego. In any sense of the fashion, whether it's relationships with your boss, your community, your family, and even with yourself. Sometimes it's hard to admit mistakes that you've made, but it's important that you realize those failures are for you to grow. It's for you to create a different life. It's for you to navigate into your next best life. So that being said, I'm going to do your reading today with a Light Seers Tarot deck. I'm also going to clarify with the Mystic Monday Tarot deck, and then I'll do a little self-care oracle card for you at the end. If you're interested in a personal reading, please contact me through my Instagram link in this description box below. I'm not the reader for everyone, so I like to have a little discussion about what you want, from your reading, and then we can schedule according to, our schedules if they combine. I am in the Central Time Zone in the United States, so we have to keep that in mind too. That being said, let's get started. I'm going to do a little shuffling here. I do not read cards I only read in upright. I don't read them in reverse. I feel like we have plenty of cards to navigate. And I'm also an intuitive reader. So if one person says the Two of Cups is different than what I say, you need to take what you want as it resonates and leave the rest for someone else. I've got all my crystals out. My amethyst, my rose, my petrified wood. Gemini, it's going to be a good season for you. I can feel it, especially with the new moon that first week there of April, second week of April. It's going to be really good for you. Focus on your health too. I'm feeling like workout vibes, things like that. I know that's what I'm doing right now, kind of get my body in better shape. So, and I'm supposed to tell you too, I used to weigh almost 300 pounds. I've definitely lost probably about 70 pounds in the last 2 years, and I'm still working on it. But just know, like, you can do it. I didn't have any surgeries or anything like that. I just focused on what was going in and my output. So I was supposed to say that too. All right, Geminis, let's look at what you're doing. What's on your Gemini heart for Sun, Moon, Rising? Ooh, 10 of Wands. Okay, cycle completed. So whatever burdens you've been carrying, it's time to let them go. Okay, it's time to let them go. Yeah, you've been carrying a lot of mental anguish, Gemini, and it's important for you to realize that your thoughts, especially with Gemini, your thoughts manifest in your life. So if there is a mistake that you made that you're kind of revisiting and kind of swimming around in, and like, oh, I shouldn't have typed that. I shouldn't have, Gemini communication. I shouldn't have typed that. I shouldn't have said that. I wish I didn't send that message. I wish I would have deleted that message. It's okay. It's okay. Bless it and move forward, okay? Yeah, caused you some heartbreak probably. Maybe it broke off a relationship that you didn't necessarily want to break off yet. Yeah. A lot of conflict. I'm sorry, Gemini. If I could give you a hug right now, I would. A lot of conflict in there. I'm going to put a little rose and amethyst on that, on your heart right now. So you've said what you said. And like I said in the beginning of this reading, you need to stop with the ego and start thinking more and saying more with the heart. Ego is fear-based, and fear is kind of a lie. It's things that aren't necessarily true. So if you could just maybe take some time to write out those fears or those negative self-talk, like I'm a bad person. We know that's not true, Gemini. You're actually a very good person. You may have said something awful, but in your heart right now, you're hating yourself for that. So that already says you're a good person. You're not a narcissist. I'm supposed to tell you that. You are not a narcissist. You are not a narcissist, but you really need to think about what you're saying and not speak from your ego and being hurt feelings, and speak from the heart in terms of trying to figure out the relationship that you're supposed to have. Okay? What's in the past for Gemini? All right, Nine of Pentacles. You had, whatever this was, you were almost there to everything, and you had a lot of inspiration with what was happening in the past relationship. King of Cups could have been a Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Very emotionally mature relationship. I think that you guys kind of fed off of each other. You fed off of each other. And it's possible that in the process of feeding off of one another, I almost feel like maybe there was a little bit of jealousy involved. And maybe during that process, like you two were both really pushing forward. Like you were both in a major career mindset. You were both in major familial mindset. You were both in major health and wellness mindset. And maybe there began to get a little bit of jealousy involved, so that, and that's where this conflict came from. You both are very emotionally mature, and what you have is really beautiful. What you had in the past is really beautiful. Just know that when I'm looking at this future, what was in your heart when I just went over, it is repairable. I really feel like this is something that can be repaired if you speak from your heart and not from your ego. And what he or she said that hurt you, and what he or she did that hurt you. Try to understand why they did what they did, because it's possible they were hurting too. Okay? What's in the surrounding space of this sweet Gemini? What is in the surrounding space of Gemini? The moon, lots of emotions. A little nostalgic. So maybe there's some regret. Maybe you did cut off this relationship, and maybe there's a little bit of regret in that. King of Pentacles. It was stable. You, Gemini, are stable now, and you are at a point where you can react from the heart. The King of Pentacles to me is all about very wise, makes very good choices in terms of money, tactile things, luxurious things, like makes really good effort and values. And that's the second house. And so maybe you're a little nostalgic of what you had with that family values, with that, whether you're man or woman. I'm not super gender specific with this reading. I feel like this could go either way for men or women, but you're deeply emotional about it. And if you can see here, divine here is in the white, and here is, to me, this is about earthly emotional connection too. So you're being helped from the other side. I also feel like if you make this choice around you right now to speak from the heart, you're going to have an epiphany about what could be next and what could be better. I feel like you're supposed to feel these emotions right now, because maybe you've never really felt anything before. Maybe you have been someone who's kind of swept those feelings under the rug, and maybe not necessarily dealt with things as they came. Like you're like, nope, it's fine, everything's fine, let's move on, we're moving forward, we're not dealing with this, let's move on. You know, it's fine. I know you hurt my feelings, it's fine, you know? So I think you need to sit with your feelings a little bit, and this is gonna put you in a better heart space so you can speak from the heart, Gemini. Coming into the future, what's gonna help Gemini in the future? Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, and Mars. Ooh, those flew out. The Chariot. So I was actually thinking about the Chariot when this came up, because again, this is the blend of the underworld and heaven coming together and sweeping out the karma of that. So really get focused on your emotional maturity. Okay, Gemini, the Lovers, this is your card, okay? So Lovers to me is a spiritual relationship. It's the yin and the yang. This person, whoever you're thinking about, and this conflict that you had was meant for you. And you are meant to roll through these times of difficulty. You know, relationships are not easy. Even the best relationships for us, these soulmate relationships that are for us, they are not easy. They really make us look inward at ourselves. That's one of the things I like about this Gemini card. They are staring into one another's eyes, her hair and his yin and yang, like all together. You know, it's an ebb and a flow. And I feel like ebbs and flows with this Moon card too. Like you have to have, the tide has to go out a little bit, and then the tide pulls back in. And I feel like when that tide is out, and you're, for instance, if you were staying on a beach and that tide is out, I feel like that's where you're, you know, really kind of stepping back and looking at a situation. And when the tide comes in, that's when you guys can reconnect and build to move forward. What's your next card? Seven of Wands. Introspective. And coming from this solar plexus chakra. So maybe getting a little creative in your own again, ego. I'm feeling ego. Maybe you need to learn to communicate a different way, and maybe that's where you become a little more introspective when that tide is out. And this karma is coming to clean up, and that tide is out. You need to become a little more reflective on your role in this relationship. You know, I feel like, I have to say this, I feel like sometimes as women, we're running around being boss bitches, right? We're running around being boss bitches, but we also have to come home to our partner. And sometimes when our partner hasn't helped the way you think he should, we have to tell them. We cannot expect these men to step forward if we're not asking them to come forward. We, you know, just as they ask us to kind of step back a little bit, and I don't mean that in a less than. Power couples are really meant to be a good ebb and flow, a divine masculine, a divine feminine. And I really feel like you running around as a Gemini female, running the show, doing the thing, taking care. We sometimes, when we're pulling all those masculine traits as boss bitches, I hate that word, but as we do, we tend to emasculate. And we can say all we want about, well, the right man. Well, yeah, the right man will, but you have to call him forward sometimes. We have to communicate. They cannot read our minds. No matter how much they see us, they cannot read our minds. So we have to be very vocal in what we expect of them. If we expect them to make more money, and I don't think there's anything wrong with asking this, then we say, you know, your job isn't really cutting it. You're not really liking, which most men, if they don't like their job, they're not making enough money. I mean, that's typically in my experience. If they're not making enough money, you need to ask them to make more money. If they're not putting away in their retirement, you need to ask them to put away in their retirement. If they're not picking up their socks at the door, you need to ask them to pick up their socks at the door so that you can clean your home and make a good space for them, okay? So that's your future. I love that. Okay, let's clarify. I'm gonna shuffle. I love this deck. It's super feminine. With Mystic Mondays, I'm gonna shuffle 3 times here. We're gonna clarify what's on the heart first with this heartbreak. But know that that's the end of an old way and the beginning of a new. So if you had a conflict, I think it's important to say that you should end that old way of communication with this person and maybe communicate in a different way, again, from the heart, not from your ego. Okay. Let's clarify this heartbreak. That came out first. 7 of Cups. So this isn't a huge amount of abundance. These little leaves coming out the top, everything is pouring in the way it should be, okay? So this heartbreak was meant to happen in order for you to get that overflow. And you know, sometimes when we get what we ask for with the universe, it becomes too much for us. And we're like, holy shit, now I have to do the work, right? So you are working, you're doing the mind stuff, you're doing the heart stuff, and it's hard. It's so hard to be a boss babe, bitch. But it's hard to do that, but you got to do the work. The universe is giving you what you asked for, okay? What can we clarify in the past? This beautiful relationship that was almost there. What can we clarify in the past for Gemini? Okay, I'm going to take this one. The Magician. Yeah, it was a new beginning, okay? New beginning to manifest. Like I said, Gemini, you are meant to manifest. That is your jam, okay? So to manifest better relationship, okay? This 6 of Cups, King of Pentacles surrounding the energy of the heart. 6 of Cups, King of Pentacles. 2 of Cups, to me, soulmate energy. Soulmate energy. So this person, like I said, is for you, Gemini. But you have to communicate differently. You have to do, if you want different, you have to do different. And in the future, Queen of Wands, the 7 of Wands, the Lovers, the Chariot. What can we clarify for Gemini? The Chariot again. This is very feminine, okay? Look at this. All the trials and tribulations, clarifying. It's going to go away if you do the work in ego versus heart, okay? So let's look at what you can do from the Sacred Self-Care Oracle. What can Gemini do to help move forward in this wonderful future of this relationship? How can we kind of tie it up in a little bow and a hug for Gemini? Well, I know Geminis have never had a problem with sex. Okay. And it also says take a walk. Well, Geminis have never had a problem with sex that I'm aware of, but sometimes they remove their heart space from sex and just go for the physicality of it. I'm going to read a little bit from the book in terms of what it says. And the number 44, if that is something for you, then that's for you. I am experiencing the cosmic orgasm. So literally, like I said, the ebb and flow of the Lovers, you are exactly where you're supposed to be. You as a female, and I'm going to say this, I think this is a feminine reading. You are exactly where you're supposed to be in order to have the emotional, spiritual, and physical aspect of pleasure and joy, okay? What kind of sexual experience would you like to call into your life? So maybe you've been missing that spiritual connection with your lover. And by that, I mean that divine masculine and feminine that I was talking about before. So when they're doing all the things to take care of you, Gemini, you become a very feminine, submissive woman that inspires the masculine role to take care of the woman. So yes, huge cosmic orgasm for you. I'm going to just throw out the walk thing because I don't think that's what this is about. This is about a spiritual relationship with someone that you love, that you communicated your needs and it didn't go very well, but you didn't communicate it in the right way. So there it is. So if you have any more questions or if you would like a little extension and a personal reading, then please, again, contact me in the inbox below, in my Instagram inbox. There is only one me on Instagram, Enchanting Little Soul Tarot. So hope this was good reading for you. I hope it provided some clarity in your life. Namaste.